You had Snoo Woman.
Snoo.
Laser Beam.
No.
Like, who
And the
are
Blob.
they? Were they anybody that I need to care about?
You're talking. Welcome back, shitheads. It's your boy Danny, and we're here for another episode of Nerd S.H.I.T. I'm not here alone. I'm here with my shitty friends.
What's up, y'all? It's the comic guy, Fabian.
Hello, my name is Crystal, and I am glad to be here.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I am also pleased to be here.
What's up, guys? It's your local Swole Weeb, Perkins.
You just created your own word.
Shut the fuck up. Hey, guys. It's Justin.
That's like in 7th grade. I gave a motherfucking student council speech, and I was like, hello, my name is Alex, but you may know me as Taco. Nobody called me Taco. But at that point,
did it become
they started
Taco?
calling me Taco.
Hey,
You have to breathe it into existence.
you gotta.
But
this
for me,
morning-
it's Weeb isn't going to stand for swole weeb. It's stupid weeb.
This morning, I
Fuck.
practiced. I was like, I'm gonna call myself the comic father this episode. I was like, it's not
Don
working.
Fabio
It's
over
not
there.
working. It didn't work.
You let comic book hunting with Perkins go to your head immensely.
Well.
Oh, wow. Did you switch out comics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
You got a
can see.
beautiful
Kinda comic
Kang
you got
piece
there.
right
We got here.
We
Tell
got-
us about it,
Tell
Faith.
us about
This
your
is
comic.
the first appearance of Kang. And as you may or may not know, if you're following us on our little series we got going on, me and Perkins have been going out looking for all the Kang shit right now. It's been amazing. It's been a journey. And I'm so ready to just be fucking complete with these because I've seen them in the wild so much. But my God, these movies and these shows have taken the price all the way up. So it's hard to get, man.
Just feel the passion in this speech.
That's the loudest Fabian's ever been.
I'm looking at your audio
six.
waves. They're
That's
solid.
also most to the point he's ever been.
Yeah, I'm kind of the comic father today. So.
There.
Yeah, it got to start somewhere, right?
Turn his mic off.
Well, so this episode, we're going to just talk about whatever we want. It's one of those freestyle episodes. So one thing that I wanted to bring up was expectation. So right now, and we've talked about it before a little bit. We all saw Ant Man, and we've seen the critics' review of Ant Man, and we've seen audience scores of Ant Man. And my thing that I want to bring up is expectation, and why there's so many people that are like, oh, this was a terrible movie, when in reality, like, yes, it's an opinion-based situation, but like, I don't personally feel like this movie was bad. I thought it was a very enjoyable movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. There's a lot of funny moments. There's a lot of cool scenes. What's y'all's take on this?
Mid as fuck. Kang was awesome. I even like Ant Man with his comedy, like him himself. Too much crying for your daughter. I'll point out that I'm excited for the future. I know where Justin's going to go with this. I agree with you, Justin. I don't think... I believe it's going to go and explore shit. But I know where you're going.
I didn't say anything.
Justin's like, I don't even
I
know
know where
where
it's
I'm
going to
going
go.
with
But
this.
it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. This is not Thor Love and Thunder. Thor, you fucking suck. Okay, that
I
movie
liked it.
sucked. I'm sorry.
I liked Thor.
Insert
Me
goat
too.
noise.
But was it mid because
Of your expectation.
of your expectation of like where Marvel has got like lately? So
If he says anything but no, he's a liar.
That's not true at all. Because I am someone that only knows the knowledge about the MCU
But
in general.
you yourself even said you expected more from
And I
it.
did, but okay, I don't mean it like I'm not comparing it to past movies or anything like that. This movie itself is supposed to be an opening for Phase 5. In my personal opinion, it was
true.
fucking weak.
Okay, so
No, let me finish.
All
I'm
right,
going to listen
but
to
I'm
everything you
next.
got to say. I got you.
Can I go
talking.
after?
now I'm ready.
we
Like,
need a talking stick.
I just believe like the Quantum Realm. I was really excited about that because they hinted at it and everything. And I was like, this is going to be an amazing world. When they first got there, and I guess we're past spoiler warnings, so
Yeah, if you haven't watched it by
If
this
you haven't
point,
watched
It's
it,
not
then
gonna
you
come
haven't.
out
so
so
late.
late.
now.
Yeah,
The
you
world
should have
is
watched it
better.
already.
It had potential. I was excited to see it. And I did. When they got there, I did like the background. I did like the CGI. The world was beautifully crafted, in my personal opinion. Like, I was happy. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Look at whatever the fuck kind of creature that is.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
these people the ooze. The
You're
ooze
my
guy was
king of
funny.
Star Wars.
You know, like the ooze guy, I like that.
Fun fact: the ooze guy was the Russian dude in the
Yeah.
first two movies.
Yeah, they were saying like, oh, we
Polka
didn't get
dot
that guy
man.
back, and then he was.
But no,
he
you're
was-
good.
yeah.
No, you're good. There's positives in the movie. That's why I give it the mid rating. But
Which
for me personally, like I had expectations, but I gave up on being overly hyped once I
Yeah.
saw Doctor Strange, once I saw Thor. I was like, you know what? None of this. I don't want to expect some crazy character like I did. I went into this without watching the trailers. I went into this without knowing any prior knowledge. I didn't even bother Fabian this time at all about it. He sent shit so I'd be caught up with the knowledge. I did not watch. I was like, I want to go in blind. And I did. And that's why I say it's mid. I was having somewhat fun with it for a bit, and then I did personally start drifting off to sleep at certain parts.
Did
I'm
you fall
sorry.
asleep too?
Dude, and it's not because the movie was fucking horrible. It's just
are
mid. Like there was
fucking
parts
We had
where
long
he
week.
kept bringing
Bullshit.
up his daughter, my daughter. I'm like, I get it. I understand the love is there. She wasn't there. You need to be there for all that. I wanted more of like the threat to be real. Kang, that the person that played him, it was amazing. He was my favorite fucking part of the movie. He was powerful.
Shout out Jonathan
Yeah.
Majors.
He's like,
It's great.
he was so good, and I was in the movie. So like, dude, he's so good. Who is
So
this?
fucking
Who
good.
is this? I was like, he's playing the character so fucking well. But then they kept on like, they didn't have like his power skill. They would start off where he got powered up. Boom, get away. I was like, dude, fuck yeah. Then they took it away. Ant Man's piecing him up. And then, to be fair, Justin pointed out, or Fabian, one of y'all pointed out that this did happen in the comics. I didn't know that. That was a good bit of knowledge to find out afterwards. But during it, I was just like, Ant Man ain't piecing up this man, dog. Kang was just beating the fuck out of you, and now you lose. I don't think he's dead, by the way.
Well-
I want to see him in the future. I am excited for the future of where Kang comes in.
So would you say this movie didn't live up to your expectations?
It did not at all.
But I think the fact that this movie was mid is good because it
Yes.
leaves room for better moments and growth and like storytelling. Because if you, my thing is that Infinity War, we got Endgame, and then right after that we got Spider-Man, and those movies were huge.
Tins.
Like that's like the max
Tins.
like excitement that they could give us, right? And then after that, do you expect that same level of like intensity for
Negative.
every
Not at
movie?
all.
Like
No.
it's
No, I don't.
it'll like
And-
if you don't have like not I don't want to say slow moments or like mid moments, but like if you're just staying
World
up here,
building
yeah, if you're not
moments.
staying at the top, if you're staying at the top the whole time, it's just gonna get overwhelming and just like too much.
I totally agree
I
with
think
you.
it's
Yeah.
one of those things where when we first started this adventure with Iron Man, there were rumors that we were getting Avengers, but we were never told that we were getting Avengers. So when Avengers happened, that's when we got excited and started to connect dots. We've already been given so much information now about the MCU that we do have expectations. We expect big things. We expect world building moments. And when we do that, we take away from what the movie is as an individual because we know it's going to be a part of a bigger universe. That's why Kang had to be beaten. There's no way that there's no world in which we know we're not getting the conclusion for another 2 years, which he wins now, and it's good for the MCU. Because then what would have had to have happened is that every movie prior to then, or like from Ant-Man to Secret Wars, has to be Kang winning. You're setting up Fantastic Four still that hasn't come out yet. You can't have a Fantastic Four movie where Kang's already beating everybody's ass. It just doesn't work that way.
And what's kind of crazy is just from seeing the directors coming out trying to defend themselves as well, just because, there's been bad ratings as far as like they said, they actually came out and said all the CG work team went mostly to Black Panther.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
They were told to like rush that,
Yeah.
put all
Put
the
a lot
work
of
into
faith in
Wakanda
there.
forever and then rush like Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
That's what you're forced to do.
I mean, that could
kinda.
affect it too, but I mean, and this is one of those worlds in the MCU that is like fantastical and kind of like you can't
Yeah.
replicate it outside of
Yeah.
CGI. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
And I think just to your point though about like Scott Lang and his daughter, she's the future of the Avengers. She 100% is. She is the future Giant Man or Ant Man. So I think why he's putting so much stock in her is so that we as movie watchers get invested in her as well.
We start liking her more.
So whenever she does take over, there's already a little bit there and you have a bit of an emotional attachment. I do agree with you, Fabian. Scott Lang's dying.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I kind of
I'm
just
down with
want to
that.
say, too, I was
I
kind of
just-
happy when it happened. You know, I was glad he stayed alive because I
Yeah.
was like, man, this
There's
is so
some.
funny.
You're right though. The movie is very middle
We
of the
had-
road. There's
Well,
nothing
like,
over
I don't
the top
want to go
about it.
against
Side-eye.
everything. Like, I know it opens up, and I wasn't
Side
expecting like
eye.
Kang to win.
Yeah.
I
I
actually
don't
kinda
think
was,
that.
weirdly
I
enough.
I knew he was gonna beat their ass a bit, but I was like, no, he's not gonna win because that, like you said, that wouldn't have been a good opening.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to beat that ass for a bit, be just as
I mean, he
diabolical
was
guy.
he was
but-
beating his ass for like he was gonna lose.
He was just overwhelmed. That was how he lost.
Yeah.
It's just you had millions of ants.
I will say, like, I maybe kind of agree with you, Perkins. Like, I loved it, and this is the problem, is that I loved it, and I wasn't really stressed, and that's why I loved it. And so probably to your point earlier where you said, like, there was no, like, real, like, danger, I guess. Like, it didn't feel like he was scared. Like, there was a fear of him, like, actually, like, fucking people up. Like, I was like, I feel pretty okay about this the whole
I don't
time.
know.
Yeah.
I think that's our fault though, as fans, is that we know Kang Dynasty's happening. We know Secret Wars is happening. We know Kang is going to be a fucking monster.
Well,
So you wanna
we
see
also
it.
know the
Yeah.
I
formula
didn't
has
know.
been happening and
Yeah.
accumulating. This is where I come into play. Just as far as like expectations go, I always get put in the mix where like, well, it's not like the comics, so you're looking at the comic. That's not what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the CG effect. I'm looking at everything happening with the story arc, and I'm not pleased. So that's just where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be on board. I love Scott Lang. I love Ant Man. It's just this film was made for me for different reasons. I'm sick of justifying and going in and having to pull a reason in to like, man, the only thing that didn't work for me in this film, honestly, and I said it in our chat we were talking about, it's just the fact that it was in the quantum realm. I didn't fall in love with all those characters, the side characters and
Yeah,
stuff.
it could have
Yeah,
happened
who the
anywhere, and I would have been
fuck
okay
that?
with it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
why did they choose to go with that storyline? Like,
I
I
don't
don't
remember
know.
their
But I
names.
respect a lot of moves that they did. Like, Hank Pym came out. He is so smart, and that's one thing we always forget. Hank Pym is entirely genius.
Yeah.
He like,
Definitely showed it a little bit more.
Exactly.
It's kind of like
Exactly.
I forgot which Spider-Man, but they don't show them being smart enough.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like in the new ones, he's definitely a little. They show him being
it's-
smart.
It
Peter
kinda,
Parker, not just
it kind of
Spider-Man.
brings
Yeah.
back his character. Like, oh
Yeah.
shit, that's why Hank's there. Like,
Do you
he's
think that
not just a
quantum realm
side.
is going to matter more later, and maybe it'll be more respected later? Like that's why it
For
had to be
sure,
there.
for sure. Maybe we were talking about like rumors speculating and
Yeah.
what like our theories were. I think possibly I've been seeing stuff circling around. They said they might do that whole thing where Hank comes into the Ultron role, or like I was kind of laughing because I saw these things pop up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know Scott's gonna die, but he's really gonna die. So
Well, they've said
even with the
that
deleted
people,
scenes and stuff, they had a world where Janet Van Dyne, Janet, right?
Yeah.
Or Hope Van Dyne.
Hope.
My bad.
Which one?
New Wasp or old Wasp?
Okay, the one in Lost. Did
I'm
anyone
lost.
That's
watch
new.
one?
That's
Mom
Hope. That's the
or
daughter.
Scott Lang's wife. Lady.
Scott Lang's wife.
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah,
Hope.
Evangeline. That's
Hope.
Hope.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got the names mixed up. But they did like this whole deleted scene where she was supposed to have like another kid
Oh shit!
with Scott Lang, and that would have implied
name
like
T'Challa?
Scott not being there. Scott's already dead, so like it's just an alternate.
They
take,
did
you know?
so that last scene when he's like shopping around for his daughter's fake birthday.
Yeah.
And he's kind of inner monologuing or whatever. Like that was a reshoot that was somewhat recent to the release of the movie. So there was an alternative ending. I don't know what it was, but I mean, maybe it was Scott losing that fight and both of them getting stuck in the quantum realm or something. But
like I think we were talking about it before, like it's just getting too easy. Like they
Yeah.
were supposed to be stuck.
You
That was
said
the
that.
rumor too. They were supposed to be stuck in the
Yeah.
quantum realm, but they just pushed
But
that
I mean,
button, came back.
yeah, but
Like-
that was kind of said in the beginning. Like this is so if you were lost in the quantum realm, I could have found you immediately.
That's
So I mean,
true.
like
She made the technology to go
she
there.
yeah, exactly. She knew how to find him from the start.
I guess it's
But-
as far as like expectation goes, it's kind of hard to like get back on a set track when there's nothing being like, I won't say nothing, but it's just there hasn't really been the next thing that showed up for a payout. Like Secret Invasion's what we have next, but even that alone is a series. It's not a movie. I thought it was a movie.
No,
That's
it's
not a
not
movie?
a movie.
a series.
But it's a big
I think it's one of
event.
those so much content.
So-
I think.
Wow.
So their shows have been fucking spot on. We haven't had an issue with any of their shows. Their shows have
Yeah.
given us everything that we need. So I'm not worried about it not being a movie and it being a show. I think that Ant-Man I rated it an 8. I was like, but I feel like it met all the expectations I had. I was like, we got to see the quantum realm. We got to see fucking Kang. They gave him a reason to come for them specifically because they
Yeah.
fucking left
They're
him
the ones-
there. So
yeah.
They
when
did
he
pick a
gets
fight.
out, I was like, so when he gets
Definitely.
out, it's not just, hey, I'm free. Let me get back on my shit and go do what I want. He's like, no, I'm fucking out for vengeance. Like, you left me there. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
So at this point, they just gave him like more motive to want to fuck.
You know, I
all
didn't
of
even
them
think
up.
about
That's
it
a
like
good
that.
point.
They did definitely like make it a very pointed, like, this is why I'm coming for the Avengers.
Yeah.
So maybe that, and I didn't hear it in the movie, and I'd mentioned it in a previous podcast where he's like, "Have I killed you before?"
Yeah, he
Oh,
said-
yeah, he
yeah,
did
he
say
did.
that. He did.
It was
say
it was
Did he?
the
But then
he
yeah.
said it in the
Okay,
movie.
I guess
Yeah.
I missed
It was
it.
the
said
first
it
interaction.
in the movie, but then he specifically, like, once he said it, pulled out Thor.
Thor.
Oh,
He
He
said
was
Yeah.
like, "Were you the
Yeah.
one with the hammer?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No."
But I wonder if that means,
Yeah.
like, I wonder
got
if he,
ants.
I think personally, and again, this is a reach, that battery supercharged him where he can go through quantum, like, space and time and all that
Yeah.
himself. And I think he's just going to go start destroying the
So
Avengers.
I heard a rumor, and I don't know much about this character, but
Same thought.
anyways, that that he might become the Beyonder. That specific
yeah.
Kang might become the Beyonder because of
Yeah.
that thing that like he fell into or whatever didn't kill him. Supposedly, it took him beyond what wherever that Beyonder. I don't know if you know more about the character and can explain like.
Was there a
Alright.
Beyonder Kang?
So no, but it's kind of what they did in the Loki series in season 1. You know how they turned him into the One Above All, or He Who Remains.
Remains.
My
Yeah.
bad. He Who Remains was never King, but he was in the whole Time Variance Authority storyline. He was the one that saw every outcome in the end, and he just lies there, stuck in that TVA.
Yeah.
You know? So that's Kang transitioning into that character. And so they might do that. I've been reading a lot of that too. They might do that whole thing where they just take out the Beyonder or Beyonders and they just turn those into Kang. So I could see them
I mean,
going like that.
it'd be
you know?
interesting, especially because that specific Kang has beef with the rest of the Kangs because
Definitely.
he got
It kind
exiled.
of does this thing where we don't really know what Kang played in this movie.
Yeah.
And we're kind of guessing. We're like, is that King Prime?
And
Like,
I feel like this
Yeah.
is the Kang.
yeah, I think it's King Prime. I want to say so also.
And purely for how they announced Thanos, and Thanos will return.
What?
Like when they announced Thanos,
Oh,
like at the
I thought you were
end
saying-
credits
You're
of
like, not again.
Avengers,
I was like, son of a
They did
bitch.
Thanos will return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that exact same thing with Kang. Kang will return. Not and
Oh,
if
yeah.
they had introduced a version of Kang blah 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 previously, like in Loki, they could have
Yeah.
done. He will return, but they did it here.
So I guess we'll really find out in Loki season 2
Yeah,
if they
looks like
do like
it's-
the whole callback thing where like, oh, this was in Quantum Mania.
Yeah.
You're right though, Perkins. We haven't really lost anything, which it does make it hard to kind of like feel that like edge of your seat moment. We haven't really had one of those yet.
Again, we've done it 1,000
I think-
times.
I think
It's just
Infinity
an
War
intro.
was. I think Infinity
Yeah.
War
like
was.
they're all building.
Yeah,
So-
It's
Infinity
a
War was
long
the first
intro.
one that
That's
that
what people are,
disappointed
like,
us.
Cutting off,
I
like
don't give
it
a
just goes
fuck.
into
I
like how
love it.
long are you willing to stay, and a lot of people have disconnected from
I
that.
don't think it's that long of an intro because we've also talked about this before. We've gone 10 years to get to where, our big buildup, and they're
How many movies are in
literally
this saga?
In
going
between
to
that,
cram so much
movies?
between now and
You got the
2025.
series too,
Like,
though.
Like
I think
They're
like
cramming
4.
so much in.
Doctor Strange.
Spider-Man, I
30.
think is
Spider-Man.
technically.
I don't think
Yeah.
Spider-Man counts.
Was it part? No, Yeah, I thought that was the first of the multiverse
No
saga.
Way Home or
kind of. That's where you
something.
blew it
Okay.
Yeah.
up. So I'd say 4.
But in
People
the series,
in the
you got all
comments.
series.
Yeah,
Listeners,
see, I feel like
Can
the
you
series
help
was
us?
a bridge. It was like that intermission to keep us interested.
They did
Yeah.
good with the
No,
series.
they
Like
did,
me,
they
I think
did.
they've done amazing. That's like one thing I
No
wish
doubt.
they'd pulled
You
to
should
the
not
movie.
rush this. If anything, there should be no rush. It's
Yeah.
just it's gonna take a while, and that's what people are having a hard time understanding with Kang. So that's the reason for all these justifications. Like Kang was supposed to be beat in this movie. Yeah, that's true. And if they happen to tie it to Loki season 2, you could see, holy shit, that's pretty awesome. They
Also-
just tied that character into Victor Timely.
Yeah, I also don't think that Kang was the strongest and
Definitely
the
not.
baddest Kang either. There's a reason why he got exiled. Like, there's a
Yeah.
reason why the other Kangs didn't like him. You know, like feel like at some point,
Baddest.
I mean, we saw the Council of Kang, and you know those.
Yeah.
I mean,
They look scary.
They look scary. Like
Yes.
those dudes don't look like.
I don't know,
They got,
man.
like,
Like the
that
one where he
reptile
had the
king.
hat on and it was squishing his eyebrows.
I was like,
I mean, there's some that look
Goofy
kind
as
of
hell,
funky,
yeah.
but like,
then leaving him there, that just gives him like, while he already is, pissed at
He's the only one
them
that's
to
like
come for the
aside from
Avengers.
them.
Like now
Yeah.
he's also, he had reason before to go for them too because they left him there.
So I just want
Which
to
makes sense when we
say,
get out and destroy everything.
I've been looking at a lot of Easter eggs too, just going back into the movie because I can't wait to rewatch it. I know I gave it a mid rating, but I can't wait to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I love rewatching these things. But at the end, where they're doing I think it's the first credit where they show the Council of
Yeah.
Kings. They show Mr. Griffin in there, which is so
Peter
cool.
Griffin. no, okay.
They got Mr.
That
Griffin,
was my impression.
and who he was in the comics. He was this guy who bought Avengers Tower. And there's this whole thing. I saw this connection. They were like, did who was it? John Favreau. He's getting this call in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it's like it shows that someone just bought the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
And then
It was moving day.
Yeah. And it also just happens to be in the comics of the 31st century, where like Mr. Griffin came in, he bought the Avengers Tower, and then in Loki season 1, we also see at the end of the whole thing, there's Kang, Qeng, Kang Tower. And that replaced the Avengers Tower. So it's so cool. I love like everything that they're doing. I think they're gonna do this thing where like Kang has been there since Captain
That's what I can't
America
wait for.
First Avenger. So
Like all the
bunch of
weird,
tie-ins
weird
there,
plugs.
Wait, question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to know the characters I can't remember their names of because they just didn't come off important. Are they important at all in Quantumanium, or are they just throwaway characters? Because I feel bad for not
which
remembering their names.
characters?
You had Snoo
Oh, the
Woman,
woman.
Laserbeam.
No.
Like who
And the
are
Blob.
they? Were they anybody that I
So
need to care
you're
about?
talking about those
Snooze.
characters.
Snooze.
So before the movie came out, we thought they were going to be the Micronauts, but that all got canned. They're just like
Throwaway
throwaways.
characters for this
Yeah.
movie.
Damn.
Damn.
It could have been a team, but I don't even think the team would have been well received if given the projection of what we got. So I don't know.
I feel like the
They're-
Quantumania itself is kind of a throwaway. Like,
Yeah,
they just use that
exactly.
as a tool
Exactly.
to introduce Kang and get him out of that into the real world.
Exactly.
Okay, I
And
don't
show
feel
us Bill
bad no
Murray.
It was a
more.
kickoff
And
movie.
Cassie.
Bill Murray.
It was
sure.
just a kick. It
For
was
sure.
kicking off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
was just kicking everything off, like getting
Give
everything
Cassie
started.
a suit.
Names. I
Let
don't.
her use
I
the
don't.
powers. So
I remember
that
White
was
House
also a
guy,
good
weird blob
introduction
guy
too.
with
Yeah.
no holes.
She's funny too.
Yeah.
I remember Ooze because he
Plus,
turns
I
into
loved
like
her,
a
'cause
donut
I was like,
or swallowing
From
people.
Supernatural, just is like goddamn Supernatural, and I was like, I fucking love Supernatural.
I know her as the girl from Freaky.
At this point, we have maybe about 2 more episodes for The Last of Us
As
I
of
think-
this record.
as of this recording. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on it so far, like especially coming back to it. We talked about it a little bit in the first episode coming back.
Yeah.
But and we had only seen 1 episode. Is it living up to y'all's hype?
It is living up to every fucking bit of hype.
Okay.
God damn.
I was worried Perkins. I just pulled him out of conversation earlier, so I'm happy he's back.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't get to play the game because I don't have PlayStation. I'm an Xbox dude, and I'm broke.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
And it's not out of
I
choice.
feel bad now.
was like,
Bad
I'm
enough to get
enjoying
me a
it lot.
PlayStation?
Oh, well.
He's
Don't,
like,
He
oh.
had a
Don't look
PlayStation,
to your
but
left.
he sold it. So The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. You guys play the game, right?
Yes.
yeah.
How do y'all feel about it so far?
Look, okay. they change only a little bit, honestly. And it's not enough to even trip about. It's good changes. I think they went the perfect direction because so many people want everything to stay head canon, like page for page, game by game. Like, no, this one, it's only flourishing more and more with the little changes they do. And it's beautifully done. The characters. At first, I had to warm up to Ellie. I did.
Yeah.
So I love her character now.
Yeah.
Their fucking reactions to each other. It's just good. It's like a father and daughter.
They definitely have good chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really well done. She's growing. He has grown from being just a dick, which he is in the game.
Man,
at the
this
start.
last episode was great though because it showed Joel broken and like Ellie becoming more headstrong. It's almost like they flipped roles for a minute. I think one of the best things they've done here is build on all the NPCs that were in the video game.
Yes.
Like characters that I never thought twice about because they weren't helping me get through a story.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden matter way more. Like Tess was flushed out real well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I feel like that area that he was just in, because he said that they had to go like south to Colorado.
I think
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure it was
Wyoming.
like Wyoming, I thought.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's where
that's
they're
right.
trying to, yeah.
But it again, all the characters, his brother has a new dimension to him now, and it's difficult because I was talking to a friend of ours, and he said his biggest gripe right now is that the human on human violence isn't to the level he wanted it to be, because in the game they do get a little violent.
I believe it's gonna get to that
I think
level.
so too.
Man.
And they're not people aren't fucking ready. If you haven't played the game, there's parts
Oh my
that
God.
get so intense,
This,
like real fucked up
Yep.
level shit.
My biggest concern is, and it's not even a concern in a bad way, it's just I hope I get to see more of the monsters in this.
Yeah.
I personally feel like they're, and again, when I say it, I don't want it to sound bad, but they're focusing more on the human aspect, and less on the monster aspect.
I almost feel like that's where The Walking Dead messed up.
That was my biggest gripe with The Walking Dead, is that you put them in a zombie universe and then took the zombies out of it and just made it the drama.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want to see more of the monsters, but I feel
Flicker
like
and everything, dude,
I feel
for
like we're gonna get a lot of those. Like the moments we've got them in have been big ass
When they
moments.
busted through the bottom and the horde of them ran out was fucking scary.
It was so pretty too. Like the cinematography or whatever
Yeah.
was so well done.
What is it called? The giant one
Agreed.
called the bloater.
Bloater.
You got your bloater. You got them. I was imagining myself in this situation. All I could think was like, dude, I'm so fucked.
Yeah.
Because they were flooding out the
Yeah.
hole,
Yeah.
and they were looking around like, dude, what do we do? And they were getting fucking ganked, and it shows you how weak humans were to this situation, how easily we would be overran, how easily we would just die as a species compared to this fucking shroom pandemic. It was crazy. Like, and I think we're gonna get more of that.
Yeah,
it's gonna come.
And I
More.
think you're right too. So far, again, there hasn't been a missed episode here. There hasn't been an episode where at the end of it I was like, oh, it could have been better.
So we've had 6 episodes so far.
Okay.
And we only have 3 episodes left.
Did y'all?
There's
How did
supposed to
y'all
be 10
think?
episodes. My guess is that they've done a shit ton of exposition up to this point. My guess is that in the next episode, it's probably going to start to get more zombie.
Well, I think maybe
more
a little bit
monster
because I
or
think the next episode is actually a flashback episode.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
And so I think after that,
After that is shit.
That would
Yeah.
be a
Like
good
for the finale.
lull to like finally
Yeah.
ramp up.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
have
been just
a
like
good feeling of where it's
exposition.
Based off this fucking ending
Yep.
right now, bro. And if you
Yep.
played the game, I bet you have a fucking amazing feeling too. But it's not gonna happen until after this fucking episode.
Yeah.
if you're watching this episode and have an extra PlayStation that you would like to give away, you could email us at nerdsocialhour@gmail.com.
Just
I'm
give
ready.
your
Of course,
personal
man.
email.
Yeah. Mail it to this
Send
address.
us all your personal information.
No, I'm
But-
super excited. I see that they got renewed for season 2, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Easy dub.
There's
Yeah.
only 2 games, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Do you
God.
think they're gonna do season 1's just the first game,
So
season 2's
I
the
heard
second
that
game?
was a possibility.
they're gonna? My guess is this. There's still a lot more story to tell in season
Yeah.
one.
they're gonna drag it.
So they're
for
gonna
sure.
drag that to season 2 afterwards, because they're already talking about that they got the actors to play. I'm not gonna say their names because y'all don't fucking know them.
Yeah.
But these characters in the next game, and I believe we're gonna get that because it's only gonna get more intense as we go on. And then
Yeah.
why wouldn't they do The Last of Us 2? Because there's so much to pull from that as a game and the character development that builds to that. Holy shit! But season 2 is gonna be. I think season 2 is gonna stay in The Last of Us
the
1.
first one.
Easily, bro.
I'm already convinced like they're dragging it out because
I want 'em
some of
to.
these characters have just like, whew, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't even want to spoil anything in saying that, but yeah, they're definitely.
I hope they
dragging
have
it
a
out.
clear cut
Yeah.
like timeline already in the works and not just a play it by ear type thing. And I feel like that's a fault of a lot of shows. Like Supernatural, I'll bring up. That show was supposed to have ended at its like 6th or 7th episode or season, I believe.
it's like
And
season
they
5.
just kept writing it and shooting it and writing it and shooting it. And I don't want that to happen with shows like these where it starts off strong, so they just keep pushing it and making it go because
yeah.
they can.
Yeah.
But so I was like, Supernatural was supposed to end, but they only kept going because the fan base.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want
bring
that.
shit
I don't
back.
want this show to be so popular that the fans hold it hostage until they're ready to let it go.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I can just see since the story's already built so
Yeah.
well. I don't think it will.
I don't
think
think
they'll
so
do it
either.
in such a way that it leaves us with maybe a good closing.
I
but
feel like 3-4 seasons tops, and that's
cut
They
it
might
off.
be able to push a 5th one if Naughty Dog decides to not do a Last of Us 3 or have plans for one.
Yeah.
But they collaborate with the people that
I
have
was
made
gonna
the
say
show.
that'd be so smart
and
to
just
bring
make-
up another game for them. Just
Yeah.
do
that
Uncharted
would be
series.
at the
I don't
top.
know.
It's at the top of its game. No pun intended. You
But
know,
if
like
they do that, do they tell them that no, you can't make a 3rd season with our original story? Do they give us an original story and then turn that into a video?
then you
game?
get that Game of Thrones situation where like the last
They-
book's not out.
I feel like if they're going to go that route, they should. Oh, and I mean, I'm not in that room, but they should already be on it making a game.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, just to let you know, we're dropping this one. Oh yeah, and
true.
in 2027, the last season will portray this. Whatever. But I mean, there's time, but
Yeah. Well, speaking of time, we've only seen 6 episodes, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So at the time that this episode airs, all of it'll be out. We'll have a lot of questions answered by that point. But I want to talk to. This is a first for us. I want to talk to my friend Jeremiah, who said he was like top dog, knows everything about The Last of Us.
If he doesn't,
Yeah,
let him
we're
know.
gonna-
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah, let him know.
real fast.
This is the
See
first.
that shit, Jeremiah.
This is the first interview we've ever done, so we're gonna go ahead and clip on over to the interview I had with my buddy Jeremiah Red. What's up, shitheads? This is our first ever Nerd Shit Hits the Street segment, where we're gonna start hitting the streets and finding our friends that are nerds also, so we could nerd out with them as well. Today, I got my good friend Jeremiah Red of the Basura Triangle Podcast.
What's up, everybody?
We're here to talk about The Last of Us today. First of all, we've had like a week to sit on it. Like, what are your like initial thoughts of this first season that we have so far?
Overall, I think it was a good adaptation. They had to make a lot of changes, obviously, to make it make sense for TV as opposed to a video game. Because when you're going through a video game, it has to be very interactive.
Yeah.
You have to have like a lot of filler per se. Whereas, like the time transitions, for example, just being kind of self-explanatory in the show. Like, obviously, like a couple of weeks have gone by, et cetera, et cetera. They're having to like blatantly throw it in your face. I think they did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, because I mean, like there's only so much you can like translate from video game to show or live action. Because I mean, like for example, like the Resident Evil stuff. Like I think they kind of took, I don't know, they took a very obscure route with their stuff, and I feel like for the most part, The Last of Us was very on point. Like they didn't go too far off from like the the source material. Like the main, obviously, like the spores were different. Like they had the like the hive mind with the fungus and all that. But
I thought that was a pretty cool addition, honestly.
yeah, it does make it a little bit more intense too, because like any zombie that you get into contact with, technically, like within I don't remember the exact radius that they had, but like
About a mile.
a mile, which is like insane. Like that's a very wide range of area for like infected zombies or whatever. But
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
what would you say is like, I guess, something that was different from the show and the movie or the show and the game that you really appreciated that you didn't expect?
You mentioned the hive mind. That was a pretty cool one. And, after chewing on it for a little bit, that would be hard to emulate in a game without it just being dumb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there's parts in both games where, there's stealth elements, there's like guerrilla fighting elements, kind of hit and run tactics. But I think it would translate dumb in a video game if all of a sudden you stepped on the wrong thing and then it's just like a big horde comes at
And
you.
you're just fucked.
That's like, oh, they just came from a mile away, but they just kind of render out of nowhere, where as opposed to you bump into a table, it knocks over a beer bottle, and now 3 clickers are coming at you one time. That's already enough to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole horde thing would be weird.
What were your thoughts on, I think it was episode 3 with Ron Swanson. Fuck, what was his name? I think his name was Bill.
Bill, yeah.
Bill. I heard that in the game, he didn't have a major role.
No, not really.
But I feel like this episode was, I don't know, I feel like it should win some type of award. Like, it was such an emotional episode for a character that wasn't even that big of a character in the game. Like, but how do you feel about them adding in stuff like that?
So there's a lot of Bill's not the only instance where they give flashbacks and more extra backstory as opposed to the game. One of the things I like about it is that it's very ambiguous.
Okay.
It kind of leaves a lot open to interpretation. Sometimes you find little snippets via like notes, letters, voice recording, shit like that.
Yeah.
I think it was a good backstory to have on there because in the game, obviously, you know, spoilers or whatever if you haven't played it, you run into Bill and they've already got that kind of relationship. Joel and Bill do, you know, where they go back a ways. They've been trading back and forth, and he's just kind of like a crotchety dude. Yeah, he doesn't really much care for Ellie. And then it's like if you pay attention to the signs and then go through and pick up collectibles and stuff, like I guess some people maybe didn't really run through the game and realize like he was confirmed gay in the game too. Yeah, because he found stuff.
He does say something about like that's my partner or something like that,
right? Because the other guy whose name escapes me because. I only remember he had a name from the show because they, you know, said it a lot.
That's where.
Whereas in the game, you know,
so then his partner was, I guess, like more of an added character. Yeah, the show versus like the game.
Yeah, the only time you see him in the game is you're going through, and the area that he has cordoned off in the game is a lot more dilapidated because he's just like a fat, sloppy piece of shit living by himself. It's called Bill Town. Yeah, and you fight your way through a bunch of traps and then some stray infected. You find him. And you still have to get the battery. That was still a thing. Okay. And you end up finding homie like strung up, like he hung himself. Oh, damn. In a household. And then he's got this letter. It says, Bill, you're the biggest piece of shit ever. Blah, blah, blah. This is a better fate than having to deal with you kind of shit.
Like, so it was kind of like a less of a love story probably in the game than it was in the show.
Right. Yeah. Essentially, like I said, it was a very brief kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, for me, that episode kind of fucked me up. I wasn't expecting a love story in a show like this, but honestly, it was so fucking good. I always forget his name. I always just call him Ron Swanson. He was he's always gonna be Ron Swanson to me, you know. And he was so good. I don't remember the name.
If you had to put me on the spot just now, I'd be able to tell you his name. Right, Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. That's right. I even have a pop of him. But it's
you have a Funko Pop
of Ron Swanson. Like he's the shit. How did you feel about the cameos that we got from the voice actors? You know, especially for the one, spoilers if you haven't seen the show. I thought the cameo for Ellie's character was like so symbolic of what was going on with everything. Like she was the voice of Ellie in the game.
Voice in the face, yeah.
And she gave birth to the Ellie that's in the show. Yeah. Which in a way is really cool that because she kind of created this character, you know, and so, or she didn't create it, but you know, like
brought it to life.
She brought it to life. And it just like in the show, she brought Ellie to life. And I thought that was like probably one of the coolest ways that you can give someone like that a cameo, considering how big of a character, you know, and just like game and show, and I don't know, people love these characters, and it's so hard to like, you don't want to fuck it up,
right? Yeah,
and I don't know, I just thought like that was probably one of the coolest ways to bring a cameo like that. Was there any other cameos that you either noticed or didn't notice, or we didn't notice if we aren't game players that you thought were really cool?
So Marlene, the lady who plays Marlene in the show, also does Marlene in the game. Yeah. The super tactical guy who's part of that group that gets fucked up by the bloater.
City.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was the voice actor for Tommy in the game. Okay. Joel's brother. Yeah. And then I found out recently that hang on, let me back up. The guy who plays Joel in the game, his name is Jack or James, in Colorado, the right hand man of the creepy dude, and he gets axed in the neck.
Yeah.
That's Troy Baker. He's done Batman before. That guy's done fucking everything.
Nice. Yeah.
And then finally, one of the nurses in the hospital room. I didn't realize this at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it like a Reddit or some shit like that. Because you can't see because she's got a mask on, in an operating room. But one of the nurses is one of the characters from the second game.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like she does the voice, or like she
does the voice of the character
Okay.
in the second game.
Okay, cool.
So I guess that's kind of a spoiler.
A little
that she's
bit
not
of
gonna get
spoiler,
cast.
but
maybe not because she had, like I said, you can't really see her face. So
yeah.
Maybe somebody was paying a lot of attention in the credits.
Yeah. Dang.
I wasn't nerding out that hard on it to watch the credits.
I don't know. Like, I don't ever like. I think most episodes I was too fucked up to like pay attention to the credits. I was just like, damn.
Just processing the whole thing.
Yeah, like it's almost every episode left you in one of those moments where it's like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like that was, especially like somebody who like I'd never played the games because for one I don't have a PlayStation because
it's a bummer.
I
think they're about to port it to PC if they haven't already.
They did bring it to PC, but I got a Mac. So
you're just slacking, bro.
Yeah, I'm kind of fucked all over, when it comes to gaming.
I very recently, like within the past month, actually, I had to borrow my homie's PS4 so I could play Part 2.
Yeah. See, I mean, I think, and my plan is to get the new PlayStation so I can play the new Spider-Man game.
Mm-hmm.
But I might as well just get the PS5 and then get The Last of Us for that system, instead of like, I don't know.
You can always borrow one. Just like, hey,
I could just borrow one.
Just give me a week.
Yeah, I could. But I want my own. Like
that's true. I feel that.
I just want that sitting like on my mantle. I feel like it's those
things are huge. Have you seen? Well, I'm sure you've seen them in person.
It's like a mini fridge.
Yeah, dude. Better be a big fucking mantle.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Are they heavy? I feel like they're heavy.
I would like to think so. Like if you don't have like good interior like technology, like it's probably a piece of shit. I don't know,
dude.
My Xbox is pretty light, and I don't know. Anyways, I need a new PlayStation is what basically the point of this. So we've had a week to think on this, and I guess you've had a little bit longer since you've played the game.
Yeah.
Given the choice between saving the world and saving Ellie, what are you doing?
Okay, so I don't know, man. I can see it from both sides, right? Because obviously, you want to save the world, but here's the thing, and they didn't really cover the aspects of this in the show, but it does kind of leave it still ambiguous.
Yeah.
But in the game, when you're fucking dudes up on the way to the operating room, you're picking up notes and voice recordings from like the surgeon, from Marlene, that confirm that, if they go through with this, Ellie's going to die. They've tried formulating a cure from other infected patients, couldn't find anything. She is, unique, but also that they're not entirely sure how it works. So it's one of those like...
So it could have just been for nothing.
Potentially. So you got to look at it not just from Joel's perspective, just like if you were an outsider, right?
Yeah.
Or even in Marlene's shoes, it's like, okay, if you have like one shot, mom spaghetti and all that.
I was going to say one opportunity.
I feel like it'd be fucking stupid to go, and I'm not a doctor, granted, I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be pretty stupid to just go straight through like, hey, this operation's going to kill her. We have one shot at this. Like, can't you do like a little biopsy?
Yeah, you don't want to do like some kind of blood test maybe?
Something, dude, because in the game, like the guys on the recorder talking about, they kind of understand how it works. Like they ran some MRIs and they can see the part in the brain where it's infected, but it doesn't grow.
Yeah.
And, they did some blood work and found XYZ, a bunch of big doctor stuff.
Crazy.
But yeah, to just go straight to the top, without any stops.
Damn, I kind of wish they would have somehow like incorporated that into the show, because that's kind of knowledge that I wish I would have got as the show was happening. Because I mean,
well, not everybody who played the game got it, because the only way you find these things is if you're exploring.
Gotcha. So it's like if you were like Joel in the show, where he just went straight up murking folks, like didn't like look around, was just like that scene felt very video game to me. It felt like I was watching someone play a first person shooter, which was fucking awesome.
You got a little more crafty in the game though, especially depending on the difficulty, because that amount of ammo is hard to fucking find in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
You're like using Molotov cocktails, sneaking up, using shivs, baseball bats with nails.
That's stressful. Honestly, so...
The game is stressful, but it's fun.
I was going to say, it sounds very stressful.
Especially on the harder difficulties. Like, you got to think, like... basically chapters ahead.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get through this segment, but like after I get through this segment, am I going to find more materials?
Damn. So like it just like it's a continuous like you have to find everything throughout the entire
pretty much,
entirety
yeah.
of the
Stuff
game.
to craft med kits, you know, weapons.
That's
other
wild.
Upgrades.
I need to play this game.
Dude, it's pretty gnarly. So, I mean, back to the original question.
Yeah. Our show's very ADD. I don't know if
I'm very ADD, so it all works out.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you want to save the world, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you just wake up from, you know, getting bashed in the head from one of the Fireflies, and they're like, oh, we've already started this process without you, and we're not filling you in, and you know, you start to put two and two together. Like, are you sure you guys know what the fuck you're doing?
Yeah.
Because really, what's funny and what I like about the story of it all is, like I said, a lot of it's an ambiguous. There's a lot of ambiguity.
Yeah.
Drink every time I say that. Everything's kind of in the gray, and you know, essentially, Joel and Ellie are searching for the same thing, right?
Yeah.
What they're looking for is a reason. You got to have a why, like why,
purpose.
Yeah, purpose essentially. And so with Joel, his purpose is, or his why, his purpose is to make sense of like all the bad things that have happened to him with his daughter and all the awful shit that he did with Tommy. And then with Ellie, it's kind of the same thing, minus the awful shit with Tommy because she wasn't old enough.
Yeah.
But you know, Riley getting fucking infected, but she didn't. And she feels very strongly about like Tess dying.
Yeah.
And Sam and his brother, whose name escapes me at this moment, you know, the deaf kid and whatnot. She wants it to all make sense. She wants it to all like have a purpose, have a reason for it. Like, you know, there's always got to be a reason for you suffering and going through pain and whatnot. And she, you know, once she finds out that it's, you know, she can't really save the world, it's like, what the fuck why do we do all this?
Yeah. Damn, that's tough. I honestly, I keep trying to put myself in the situation of like, would I save her or would I save the world? And now knowing what I know, that they didn't know for sure if the surgery would have actually done anything, I probably would have saved her. But it's tough because like you can get, if one person can get, you know, save the entirety of the world, like, you know that they would choose that. Like, I think Ellie would choose, which I think is also like what kind of like, I guess not pissed me off, but like was kind of fucked up is that they didn't give her a choice.
Right.
Like, they didn't tell her like what was going to happen. They were just like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you surgery. They didn't tell her like, all right, this is going to kill you, you know? But I feel like it's funny. Like, I don't know why don't they just wait till she's like 18 and let her decide? But she's like murking fools, so it's like I feel like that at this point, like, age doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
legal
but I feel
adult
exactly.
Really
it's like I don't know if legal adult.
World.
Yeah, I was like, laws don't matter there. But I still feel like at some like she's still a kid. She still has to grow up. I feel like this is a choice that they should just. They're already in the world as it is. They're already used to the way of living at this point. I feel like waiting out a couple years so that she is like an adult and thinking clearly, at that point maybe they can like give her a choice whether or not she should, you know, kill herself to save everyone or kill herself to possibly save everyone. I don't know.
At the bare minimum, do enough tests to really figure out like a probability.
Like make it worth something.
But also, are the Fireflies the good guys?
That's a good point. But I don't know if I trust government in these kind of places, but
that's part of the ambiguity of it too, is because, you know,
drink.
Exactly. Take a fucking sip. You can put like a little disclaimer before this starts so people get ahead of it.
Yeah.
But that's really the best word for it because, you know, when you're looking at it just through Joel's lenses, he's just a smuggler, and then now he's Ellie's caretaker.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, throughout the game and through the TV show as well, though the TV show, there's a lot of people going into more detail about like what life was like living under Fedra and whatnot. And yeah, it wasn't nice. It wasn't pleasant. But I mean, how else are you supposed to make shit happen? And then we all know that just in general, governments are corrupt and, you know, not efficient at the very least.
Yeah.
But were the Fireflies any better? The only thing we really know about them is that they're a paramilitary organization, arguably terrorist.
Yeah.
By definition, from Fedra, they're terrorists.
It's crazy you say, like, I never even like, I thought of like, obviously I realized that they're like a rebellion, but like anytime that we see a show like this and there's a rebellion, typically they're the good side. Like, I mean, like Star Wars, you know, like the rebellion is Jedis, you know? And so you're right. Like, I never even thought about the possibility that these guys might not even be good guys.
Have we seen Firefly run city?
No.
They always live within a city or right outside of a city that's run by Fedra. What do they do all day? They just find ways to fuck up Fedra.
Yep.
They don't really like. Okay, well, what about after?
Yeah,
Because you
that's
saw
fair.
in the show, you saw Kansas City. That wasn't necessarily Fireflies, but it was an uprising that took over. I mean, did that look like any more of a fun place to live?
That's true.
It was a dictatorship
Damn, I didn't even
with that
think
crazy
about that.
lady.
Yeah, she was kind of fucking crazy.
Which, granted, that none of that was posed in the video game, but in the video game, you pick up notes from people who are like on the run from the Fireflies, and then it's like you find it in a skeleton that has an arrow through its skull or something like that.
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe like, well, because I mean, even the government side of it, the reason why, like, obviously I don't feel like as just a viewer from the show good about them is in the episode with Bill, the people that they're taking from his city, like are that the clothes and skeleton that they see when they are first walking up
Or the same people from his
are the
neighborhood.
same people that they take from the city. So it's like the government killed these people, and it's like, and also they killed his daughter in the beginning. They killed Joel's daughter. They gave the order to just like murk everyone,
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, it's one of those things that raises a question. Like the government, they did like a very flash response at things like bomb infected areas of cities, set up checkpoints to let anybody through because we don't know what the fuck's happening. And yeah, it's easy to say, well, that was fucked up. You guys shouldn't have done that. But, if they put me in charge, I don't know what I would have done differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of those weird, like, tough situations. Like, nobody's gonna know the correct way about going about a zombie apocalypse. Like, it's
right.
There's no real. I mean, everyone has their ideas. Everyone's like, I'm gonna go to a mall. I'm gonna go to Walmart. I don't know.
Who knows?
Going from the game to the show, do you feel like the casting was done pretty well?
I think it was done very well. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like when they did Henry Cavill as a Witcher. I didn't really see it until like they did the reveal, and I was like, okay,
like, yep, there
that
it
works
is.
very well. Same thing with Pedro. Like I respect him as an actor, and same thing as you. Everything I've seen him in, I've liked, and I've liked his character and the way he's acted. I just wasn't sure about this one, I guess, because it's different.
Yeah.
If he's done a role like this, I haven't seen it.
I would say the closest thing to this character, it would be from Narcos. I don't know if you saw him.
Oh yeah, I loved him in Narcos.
But it's very it's pretty straightforward acting. Like, it's not like he's playing a crazy character or anything.
Right.
But he is kind of like, I don't want to say like a stern person, but like, or like an action hero or anything like that. But I just felt like that was probably like closest to what he was going to be playing in this show.
That makes sense. There's an air of Joel in the game that has a little bit more grit to him, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that I was like, can this guy like walk around like he's carrying all this shit on his shoulders, but then eventually, as time goes by, loosen up and find hope. And once that hope has the capacity to be taken away from him, he regresses all the way back to just like a fucking vicious dude.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of could get a little bit of that from Mandalorian. I mean, like I don't know if you've seen the show or not, but
half of season 1.
So essentially, like, he's kind of like that, where he's very like to himself and to his people. And when he gets this job to save this kid or like to take this kid to a person, like I don't know. It's very weird how similar the characters are from like, and you probably see the memes where like
memes.
They're very similar. They have very similar jobs. They take on this kid that they don't want to take care of, but then the kid starts to grow on them, and then they're like their adopted father at some point. So I mean, like, very similar characteristics. Obviously, we get to see Pedro's face a little bit more in this one.
Yeah.
There is a little bit more grit to his character, which is what I got a little bit of from Narcos.
So is it, with the whole wanting to dump Ellie off and then she kind of grows on him, like cordyceps or a tumor. Is what was interesting is that a big difference in the game too. With the game, it follows a very similar stride early on. With Joel and Tess taking on this job, they're like, all right, well, we're just going to dump her, at the Capitol. Yeah. And then they go to the Capitol, and they're like, oh, great, all the Firefly homies are dead. The only real slight difference with that in the game versus the show is in the game, Fedra shows up, and then Tess, does a last stand and a shootout, and then you gotta like fight your way out.
Oh, damn.
Again, doesn't really adapt to
show.
Yeah, it doesn't pace as well.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense. Because video games, you're trying to engage people to like create the story versus like this story has to happen. It has to have like a fluid motion to it.
Yeah, you're actively participating. You're not watching.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the thing of it is that in the show, and I'm not sure why they did this, and I'm not mad about it. I'm indifferent, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something, or it'll possibly move somewhere into season 2.
When she made out with the zombie?
No. No, with
she was like, God damn, she was turning into a zombie herself. She's like, I mean, if I'm gonna have a zombie boyfriend for 2 minutes, might as well be this guy.
Might as well get down. So, Joel's got Ellie. Tess just sacrificed herself at the Capitol in Boston. And then they're, Joel's like kind of like, well, what the fuck do I do now? You know what I mean? It's like I can't just really just like, all right, bye, kid. Like nobody's gonna pay me on this. So that's where he gets the idea to go find his brother Tommy in the game.
Yeah.
After, well, first he goes to see Bill, obviously, but then, he's like, all right. He's kind of like figuring out as it goes.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more obvious. Whereas in the show, it's like, oh, well, after I do this job, I'm going to go see Tommy. And it's like, oh, well, I might as well take Ellie with me, whatever.
Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, because there's a conversation that Ellie and Joel have when they're they're like on the outskirts of Bill's place or Billtown.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were in a truck. No, I think they were walking when they said that. And she was asking, Joel a bunch of questions about Tommy. And then he said the same thing, like, oh, he joined the army and then he joined the Fireflies, but everything went to shit because he was always the like save the world kind of dude.
Yeah.
And then there was a quote in there somewhere where it was like, Joel said, I believe his last words to me were, I don't ever want to see your goddamn face ever again. So they had a big falling out. The conversation they had in Jackson in the first season, Joel and him had when they met him at the there's a hydroelectric plant that they mentioned in the show.
Yeah.
But you actually go through it in the game. Again, I can see why they cut that because there's a big fight, whatever.
Yeah. But that just wasn't necessary to a story.
Yeah, you could definitely, like with jokes and whatnot, we talk about like, comedy and whatnot, you can cut the stuff out, get to the same point.
Yeah.
That's where they had that big conversation about like, Joel's like, you gotta take her. And he's like, why?
Yeah, it's like, that was kind of weird to me. Like, I don't understand why he didn't feel like he was good enough to like. He got her like literally across the country, and at this point, he's like, "Well, I can't do this."
I think it's a couple of different reasons why. Is because he knows he was getting attached to her, and emotionally and mentally and all that, it'd be easier just to cut her loose. But also, he is aware of his age and his condition. Yeah. Like for example. He can't hear.
He can't hear.
He can't hear, and then there's a couple of moments that I felt like the game had a little bit more impact.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm just biased. I don't know. Where he's talking about he tried to kill himself.
Yeah,
and that's why he's deaf in the right ear. Cause
I didn't even put that together. Honestly, that's crazy.
And what's funny is that whenever Sam and God, I can't remember his fucking brother's name.
We're gonna put it right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which for some reason in the game they meet in Pittsburgh, not Kansas City, and all these people are after them, but they don't really go into details.
I don't know if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, but
I hear it's a shitty place.
Kansas is better.
But nonetheless, in the show, that's how they got snuck up on because Ellie commented, "You don't hear very well to your right ear."
Yeah,
and then when they get snuck up on, he's laying on his left side, his right ear's exposed. That's why I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
So he's feeling his age, he's feeling his ailments, and then I think the main thing is just not wanting to get attached. And then the next day, they're like, screw it, here we go. Because in the first game, you don't really go into Jackson so much as you just kind of see glimpses of it, mostly from far away.
Yeah.
In part 2, you see a lot more of Jackson. That's all I'm really going to say about it. But in the show, I did see a potential, not an Easter egg so much as like, if you're paying enough attention, you might have seen a foreshadowing of a character from part 2.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna like Forrest Gump. That's all I'm gonna say. About
that. I mean, that's fair. Like, I don't want to get too because I mean, if the show is if season 1 has been super close to the game,
yeah,
I can only imagine how they're probably going to continue doing that for season 2.
I think it's been confirmed that season 2 is going to be broken into 2 seasons because it is a longer story.
Okay.
It's a longer game, mostly because they had the technology to do that.
Yeah.
They couldn't cram that long of a game on a PS3.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense, and I'm totally cool with that, so it's not rushed.
What would you, out of 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you rate this season 1?
Season 1, I don't really see any reason to not give it at least a 9.5.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Honestly, I agree, because then there's room to grow for season 2.
Yeah. I don't have, because especially when you hit me up about doing this, I've been really thinking about it, really chewing on it.
Yeah.
And kind of revisiting little clips on YouTube. I'm like, I think if I hadn't played the game, I'd be more inclined to give it a 10 because it'd be new.
Yeah.
It'd be fresh. Because now I know what's going to happen. Like, there are little intrinsic differences here and there.
Yeah.
Like the part where the Kansas City crew gets swamped and completely fucked up. That was pretty cool.
That was,
and then
dope.
you learn this lady's story just to see her get eaten alive.
Yeah.
That was kind of dope.
Yeah.
If I would have came in like and obviously that's not necessarily criticism.
Yeah.
As far as adaptation goes, I think this is probably the best adaptation I've ever seen.
I agree. Like, from game to like big screen, like I think this is, or at least big screen. Well, I got a pretty big
Yeah,
TV.
You got one there.
I got one.
in the living room.
I like big TVs.
Wall,
but from like from game to screen, like I think this is probably one of the best game adaptations
easily, because like you said, the Resident Evil movies were kind of stupid. They just took like the small root concept and just.
I think the first one was okay, and then it kind of just like they just took it wherever they wanted it to. Well, all right, man. Thanks for doing this interview.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Thanks for doing the first ever Nerd Shit Hits the Streets. Let everyone know where they could find your stuff.
So if you can spell Basura, that's Basura.
We'll put it right here.
Yeah. Basura Triangle. Basically, look that up. That or Jeremiah Red. You'll find anything that I'm associated to. I've been building like link trees and shit like that.
Yeah, link trees
all
great.
Day fucking around with that.
Hell yeah, we got one too.
So yeah, that's where our podcast is. It's called you guessed it, the Basura Triangle Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. There's some funnies on there. I mostly post to Facebook because I'm old and grumpy.
Boomers.
Yeah.
I think you're younger than me.
I am younger than you, but what is it? It's not the age, honey. It's the mileage.
Yeah.
I have not been kind to myself mentally or physically over the years.
I'm like a Ferrari that's been slightly used, kind of taken care of, taken out on weekends.
I'm like a fucking Chevy Impala where you're like, how the fuck does that thing still run? I don't know, but it ain't got reverse. You got a Fred Flintstone in it.
Well, on that note, guys, I'm going to send it back to you shitheads back at the podcast studio.
Take her away, shitheads.
Yeah. Back to you, Tom.
All right.
Whoa.
Wow.
We didn't
Such
know that.
great
Good
insights.
stuff.
I didn't think that was a great
Wow.
first
I have
interview.
so much
I
more
guess
to
you
say.
are
So
who you
perfect.
say you are.
Wow.
That
Man.
Just
Cool.
really
What a
appreciate
nerd.
it.
Jesus
What a
Christ.
fucking
He could have
nerd.
done better. Yeah. I bet he didn't even
Yeah.
platinum the
Fucking
game.
nerd.
Mid piece.
Yeah, that was it mid also mid interview. It's a kickoff
This
interview. It's the
episode's
first
mid.
interview that's ever
Do
done.
better next
Yeah.
time.
All right. But anyways, be sure to go check out his podcast and right after you're done with our podcast. Well, that was a great segment. I think we should go ahead and go on to our next segment, which is an anime dump.
Yeah, this movie, it's a dump, all right.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
Okay.
What the
Dumbo.
hell?
Anyways, so the anime we're going to talk about today is called Violet Evergarden. Now, this one is not your typical
Cue the
shonen,
violins.
cutesy,
In the
you're
background.
just going to win with the power of friendship type shit. No. This one is hard-hitting in them feels. You are going to cry. You're going to get depressed. You're going to have happy moments,
Real
too.
shit.
Sounds like a normal day.
I had to stop watching it. I was like, I am not in a good headspace for this, and I had to stop watching.
This series focuses on a child warfighter, child soldier, if you will. Her name is Violet. She is adopted and turned into the soldier for a bit, and you're witnessing everything through her eyes after this is done, after the war is done on her side. She had somebody named Gilbert, Major Gilbert. He was the one that was her mentor, I should say. Little does she know that she actually falls in love with this person. But being a child soldier, she does not understand these feelings or any type of compassion toward anybody else in her life because she never had any reason to have those. Where this series does great is you're watching her become a doll. And to explain real fast what a doll is, they type down notes, letters for people that don't know how to read or write. So say you want to send a letter to a loved one. You have someone like your mom, your wife, your husband. You don't know how to write.
Everyone's idiots.
Basically.
Literacy is gone in this world.
She's typing it up for you and you're speaking, and she's supposed to translate it and show emotion in this letter, which is crazy because she obviously doesn't know how to do that yet. So throughout the episodes, you're watching her learn what these different feelings are. You're watching her understand compassion. You're watching her finally come to terms with her own personal loss. One good episode to shows this extremely well is to do with, where's it at? The playwright. This man has gone through it. So imagine you're married, you're happy. Y'all have a kid together. Everything's super good. Your wife gets a sickness, an illness that kills her. She dies from it. Then you find out this shit is hereditary and passes to the daughter. You're sitting there watching your daughter that was full of life go through the same thing your wife just did.
Damn.
And there's not a cure. All you can do is watch her die. What happens? Do you A, just move on with your happy-go-life, or do you B, go into a fucking drunken depression? Probably fucking B, which is what this man does.
Damn.
And
I choose C.
While the daughter's alive?
no, she dies, and this
After she
causes
dies.
him to go
After
into
she dies. Okay.
yeah, he
that
goes
makes
into
sense.
depression
I was
afterwards.
like, bro, she's
And
alive.
the one thing he wanted to continue to do was make these plays. His daughter loved those, and he is trying to do this, but he's grown such a problem from it that his hand has tremors, like an alcohol dependency, and he just remembers the shit, his daughter's face, and he always goes through episodes of depression, and he becomes a shut-in. He hires Violet. This is a pivotal moment for Violet because she truly gets the feeling of what it is to lose somebody, because she finds out that she went through it with the major. The playwright asked her to write everything down for him, this letter, this play that's supposed to be for the daughter. And going through it, you get to witness this man finally come to accept that, yes, his wife and his daughter are both gone, and he has to accept that he needs to move on. And the biggest scene in this episode is done when Violet says she'll recreate the moment or the promise that his daughter said she would do. They live near a lake, and the daughter, what's her name? Olivia. Olivia sees this lake and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna jump over this for you. I'm gonna fly over this, Dad. I promise you this." She dies. Obviously, she can't do that. You know what I'm saying? She's dead. So Violet hears
Did we
about
mention
this.
she's dead?
Be
Oh,
impressed.
she dies after this.
Dead as fuck.
Violet was like, "I'll complete this promise as your daughter." She runs, and obviously being a fucking super soldier from the war, she can jump. She jumps over, and during this moment, all you see is the flashes of his daughter go through the playwright's mind, and he's yelling and crying because he has to give himself time to truly grieve. And in this moment, the music is going off. The scenes are flashing. You see the love he had for his daughter. And then she lands, and he's still crying. He's still screaming and grieving. And it's done at that point for that episode.
It's so beautiful, though.
Okay, like
I feel like the whole artwork and everything with it, it's really pretty.
tell me what you thought. You finished it. I'm so happy you finished it.
So it's on Netflix. And so I went and I searched it on Netflix, and it pulls up with all of it. There's the
4 parts,
first
or-
there's the season. There's 2 movies. There's a extra collections or something. There's, if you look at it's a whole thing.
You said that there was a version of it that is faster paced.
Recollections. That's the one you're talking about. They
Probably.
put the first season together, and they just shortened it by, I believe, 6 episodes. And put
Okay.
them
They
together.
kind of cut some of the other stuff out.
Which honestly, I probably should have done because from my point of view, I wasn't a fan of it. It wasn't bad. I just don't like the storytelling part too much. I think I wanted more action out of
it
it.
started off really slow,
Yeah.
but it she has no emotions. Like she wakes up from like a coma or something,
Mm-hmm.
because because she was injured and shit. So when she wakes up, she has no memory of like what's going on, like what's happening, and so she doesn't even know that this major has died. And
Yeah.
they don't
And
tell
no one told her.
Yeah, they don't tell her until like halfway through the season.
Yeah.
But with her not understanding emotion and only knowing just like fighting, like that's all she knows is war, she has to like learn how to accept her emotions and how to deal with them and how to recognize them. And she gets the job as a doll because before her and the major that get separated, he like tells her that he loves her, and she's like, I don't know what that means. And so she literally like goes and gets this job so she can learn what what love is.
Yeah.
And it starts off very slow, and it the first couple episodes definitely dragged a little bit for me, but it grew with her. Like as she grew more understanding like of her emotions and how to process them, you get more of that like in the actual like episodes. Yeah. And so the episodes that Perkins was just talking about was like episode like 6 or 7 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then right after that, the rest of it just fucking blows up. Like it's like all over the place, and it gets like you get more action because they go back, and there's actual like what are they called?
They go to the war.
Like the war like technically ended, but there's like factions that are trying to like still fight, I guess. And so you get more of that in this like later episodes.
I don't know, I just feel like it shouldn't take that long to pull someone in. Like I don't know, I mean, this is just my opinion of
something that we would have enjoyed. Because I feel like that's it for me, is that I fucking hated it. But I'm that's not saying it's bad, it's just 6 episodes deep, and it's just the same shit every episode.
I will say
Girl with
those
no
final
feelings,
ones,
right?
I want to watch everything.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying, I do want to say those like final episodes definitely made me want to go watch everything else related to it.
That's such a stupid argument.
I forgot.
Though.
Yeah, I forgot what show.
When you get to the end, it's finally worth it.
But it works. It works out. It works out like this though, because it's one of those few rare animes where they're not going to give you all the information at once, and her development is what you are watching it for. And when you get to the episode, which is not the actual last episode, because there's movies in another season, it culminates, like it comes together, and it makes fucking sense because you are growing with her emotionally. It gets to the point where after the daughter part, that's where it starts exploding, she now understands some of her emotions. She has to have that same compassion for another soldier. You get this fucking heart-wrenching scene where this soldier, he told her his story, like, hey, yeah, I'm about to go back and I'm going to be with this girl I love. There's a fucking shootout. She has to kill these people, but he still gets injured. It's a fatal wound. He's bleeding out, and she's the only one there. He's asking her, please write this letter. She has no paper. She has none of this. So she has to sit there and type it out like she has her typewriter there. And this man is dying, telling her everything he never got to say to his loved one, to his family. He is thinking about this girl, Maria, and he is saying, and it's fucking heart-wrenching, dude, because he's fucking dying. He knows he is. And he's like, Maria, this wasn't supposed to happen. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I want to be with you. My life was supposed to be with you. I never even got to kiss you. And he dies. And that's fucking it. And it's the reality of war that hits you, and it hits her. Because she kisses him on the forehead, because as he's dying, he's fading. He's only seeing Maria. He's like, Maria, he's imagining he actually got to kiss her. He's like, Maria, please kiss me. She kisses him on the head, and it fucking destroys her, because he's imagining that she is Maria, and she knows that he is never going to get that moment. Fast forward to her bringing that last letter to his parents, to his girl. They say thank you as they're crying. Thank you for bringing our son back. And this fucking absolutely demolishes her, because she's understanding what true loss is now. And she's like, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry for failing. I didn't protect your son. I'm so sorry. She's fucking crying. All these emotions are coming out. And this is why I believe like it's one of the few ones that you have to watch to the end. Other anime, I could shit on them all day. They're slow. They're fucking slow. This one does not do that. It builds up to that pivotal moment. I was fucking crying, dude.
I was
fucking crying watching this shit because
so
it
much.
builds up. It's fucking hurtful.
If the big
It's so
buildup is a
hurtful.
cry, I'm out.
I
But
agree
it
with
was
that much,
beautifully
y'all.
done. It's so
The
done.
big
Emotions.
buildup is depression.
I looked it up. It won like a bunch of awards.
It won
for,
so many
like,
because
its whole
it's
journey.
done
Like,
so
I don't doubt
fucking
that
well.
it's not very,
can I ruin
very
the end?
good. No.
Ruin it.
I'm
I wanna
almost no,
ruin the
well
end.
because I'm like an episode away from finishing, or like maybe a couple episodes away from finishing. I kind of want to finish it now just to like
Yeah,
see
you're
if
convincing us that
it's almost like
good.
I if I need to watch to the end, then I need to watch it to the
Well,
end.
it's only
You-
12
Yeah.
episodes, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
it's
close.
12.
First
I think I'm
season or
2
whatever.
episodes away from finishing it. So I think it's also just not the typical anime that I would try to watch.
Oh, it's like the
and I
complete
think that's
opposite for me.
it's just not one of those things like it wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
like
that's
super
fair.
invested.
Right.
I'm not like gonna take away from the fact that it's a very emotional anime because there's a lot of moments that it's like, God damn, like that's sad as fuck. Like that the daughter scene or that episode was very sad. And then I did enjoy the episode where the prince, like someone was
princess
getting
and
the princess
princess.
and the prince. Like I did enjoy that episode, but it's also like again just not the typical anime that I would go out of my way to watch.
It's more of a adult. It's more mature and focused on overall plot instead of
Very
the
story
actual-
driven.
Instead of action thing, which is fun. I know everyone has their genres.
Yeah.
I can't get mad at that. It's not going to be for those that love the action type stuff. And I fully understand it. But if you do watch it, get to the last episode and then it comes together. And that's how it was made. And that's why it got all these awards. That's why it continues and it has this giant fan base. The payoff is so worth it. I'm a grown-ass man that's not afraid to say I fucking cried multiple times in this shit. And I was like, dude, what the fuck?
What's happening to
Like,
me?
I was sad.
I'm feeling.
For real, like, it gets you. And the end, it just finishes off right. And you're like, damn, okay, this is what they wanted you to get to. And if you're not someone that likes to deal with those emotions, you get sad easy, it's gonna get your ass. All right? I like to pride myself that I'm not fucking bothered. Nah, you got me. You got my ass so bad.
I will say that if you do give it a chance and you do watch it all, watch the movie too, because
Does the movie follow
the
does.
movie
Okay.
follows it and it wraps everything.
So you
up.
got to see
damn
the
it.
end. You
Did
got
you
to see
just-
what happened.
Did
Fuck.
I just hear her
I told
say
you,
watch it all and
I
then
watched
watch
all of it.
more to understand it all?
No, not
no,
to understand
to
it all.
wrap it up.
P.S.
Like
I love you.
like the way it ended, it was like
Watching
it
that.
ended fine, but then they were like, you know what? Let's continue this, I guess, because people liked it so much, and so they just continued it, but they gave you
Gotcha.
like another
They
like.
gave you the
Gave you another
Like-
layer.
Yeah.
This is just they do it, and it's so good
Onions
because
have
it
layers.
ties
and I
back
don't
to
want
the
to.
fucking.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
goes back to like at the
It's
beginning.
just such a hard watch for me because this is absolutely outside of
The
any
movie is a
genre
lot
I care
faster.
about.
Though.
Yeah.
The movie is a lot faster than the
That
beginning.
ending,
Of it.
y'all will never expect the fucking ending.
Yeah.
I promise you. And then you're like, what the fuck?
Damn.
I kept waiting
Oh.
for the ending and that to happen in there, and then I was like, well, damn. And then I was like, fuck. So when I watched it, I was like, I can't. I was like,
That's
I
awesome.
can't handle.
But that's all I got to say about it.
You know what, guys? That's gonna be it for us on this episode. Be sure to follow us on all these down here. Email us if you have any ideas for future anime dumps, or if there's any topics that you guys want us to talk about. Send an email.
Shoot us some mail.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeremiah, for your
Yeah,
review.
thanks,
Right?
Jeremiah.
Y'all
Go follow his podcast. I'm gonna link it down here too. But yeah, until next time.
Bye.
Peace.